But I think it's also pertinent to point out that without the hard work that's gone on, both within One North East and without, we would have missed a significant opportunity. Only 2 days ago, we had the announcement that Network Rail were taking forward Northern Way proposals to create new capacity in our railways from the northeast to the northwest, a programme costed at £530 million that will deliver over a fourfold return, £4.2 billion of investment return to the north. That will result in greater passenger capacity, 40% more trains, and shorter journey times, linking the great northern cities more closely together. I've always thought it a disgrace that it takes longer to travel by train to Manchester Airport from here than it does to get to London. Continuing investment in infrastructure will be a vital component of contributing to the recovery. And the Northern Way has also brokered pan-regional and pan-national political support for high-speed rail from London to the north. In this recession, the North has benefited from the greater diversification of our economy over the last 30 years and the enormous structural changes within the regions towards more high-technology, knowledge-based businesses. Nevertheless, some of the worst-hit communities are in the North. You don't have to go far from here to see that today. The impact on manufacturing has been particularly severe because of the global nature of this recession. But already, due to the decline in sterling, companies are beginning to benefit from a much lower exchange rate. In my own business, whilst domestic sales still lag 15% behind their level 18 months ago, exports are 169% up on a year ago. But one of the very real dangers we face in the Northeast is that in a region such as ours, which is so dependent on the public sector, that we will continue to be mired in recession as public sector cuts dampen retail spending and clouds the prospect of regeneration. But also, I would argue the next Parliament will have to deal with some really critical long-term economic challenges. Some of these challenges were with us before the recession. The affordability of higher education is just one example. But if the recession has led to a focus on the emergency response, the role of the next Parliament must be to lead the longer process of rehabilitation. And this afternoon, I want to highlight just a couple of issues that fall into that category: new energy and the challenge of climate change and innovation. The North has a key contribution to make to the performance of the UK in new global growth markets which will drive our economic recovery. We have specific world-class capabilities and critical mass in areas like electric vehicles, low-carbon technology, the creative and digital sector, biotechnology, and advanced manufacturing. We've heard about printable electronics in Sedgefield this morning. Assets elsewhere in the north, such as Media City in Salford and the Advanced Manufacturing Park in South Yorkshire, supporting new nuclear build, are places where innovation flourish. Complementing all that, a very strong higher education sector with a vital research and knowledge base. We have one of only 2 national science and innovation campuses at Daresbury, and we also have the N8 partnership of universities across the north. And personally, I'm really grateful to individuals like Richard Maudsley, currently chairman of the National Nuclear Laboratory, who gives so freely of his time to support our work on innovation. This region was the cradle of the Industrial Revolution. It can, and I hope will be, a cradle of the new energy revolution. From nuclear capacity in the northwest to carbon capture technology in Yorkshire and offshore wind capability in the northeast, I believe we have a huge opportunity to construct an energy belt across the UK which could deliver more than half our energy requirements. It's in the northeast where I think the greatest prize lies. Off our shores in the North Sea, we have relatively shallow waters that can support an offshore wind industry that could bring us bigger boost to our economy, as the oil boom did for Scotland. On the banks of our rivers, the Tyne, the Wear and the Tees, we see the impressive capacity to support the oil industry, which could become a leading centre to build and support an offshore wind industry. Let's just pause for a moment and think what that means, an offshore wind industry. We heard from Jim Daresbury earlier on his description of what it would mean. Pylons the size of the Eiffel Tower, wind turbine blades the size of Big Ben, and on top of all that, 500 tons of technology to be installed in a 40-knot wind in the North Sea. That stretches our engineering knowledge and skill to the limit. It would be the equivalent of launching 4 naval frigates a week, every week, for 3 years. The technology spin-offs in gearbox design, ancillary support services would be immense, as well as the work needed in smart grid technology and distribution ability. To illustrate the Northern Way's support for this exciting opportunity, we announced this month £3 million of research funding to support this through the Northern Wind Innovation Programme, yet another unfortunate acronym. A similar amount of money has been earmarked for future research. This initiative has already sparked collaborative research projects from our leading universities, Durham, Newcastle, Manchester and Sheffield, with private sector input from companies like Clipper, we heard from this morning, Parsons and David Brown Gears, McNulty Offshore, Siemens Able UK and Scottish Power. But we need to do much more than just the research. We have to win international recognition as the most committed, responsive, flexible and proactive location for new investment. We have to establish the critical mass that will enable us not just to have a lead in this country, but be able to support the technology and export it around the world, in the same way that steam power was exported around the world. This requires commitment, dedication, and yes, it requires a vision that these opportunities will not pass our region by. The darkest day is often sometimes before the dawn. And I genuinely believe, ladies and gentlemen, this region could be at the dawn of a genuine revolution that can and should transform our region. We have the people. We have the skills. We have the opportunity. We have the determination. And most important of all, I think, we have the partnerships to make it happen. So when we go home this evening and we think of Chorus, let us also think of what could be. Thank you very much.